So here we are on the top of the mountain. This is Melissa, whom you may have never heard of before, and may have never seen before on my channel. Through this fence, there's a porch on the edge of this entirely modern, entirely fake, government-built Buddhist temple. It is a lovely Buddhist temple in its way, but about as real as Disneyland. If you think Mickey Mouse is a real mouse, then you think this is a real Buddhist temple, put it that way. But they've dissimulated some of the features of traditional Theravada Buddhist architecture, which is a nice change from what went on here during the Cultural Revolution and the Great Leap Forward. And we can see this from our apartment. You can see this from most of the city downtown.
Mm-hmm. You can see it from your school.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. You can see it from the university, which is on the other end of town. That's true. Anyway, we're slightly out of breath. We've just come up this onerous staircase, and now for your entertainment, I'm going to film us as we descend. This is all regrown. This is not old growth forest. This is the opposite of old growth forest. But still, it is really nice. We get the sound of a lot of birds overhead. Well, okay, not at this time of day. Here are our fellow travelers coming up the stairs. This is Sunday, so it's relatively busy here. Mostly just people getting exercise, but a few people might be making the pilgrimage up to the Buddhist temple to get the view. Well, that's the view to some extent, sorry. If you can see through the bamboo here, it is enough of a mountain that it gives you a commanding view of the city and turning around. I've had videos before showing that view. Anyway, I don't have anything to monologue on as we descend the stairs, but it was remarked to me by some of my viewers they'd like to see some more views of Da Hong before we leave town. We're leaving town in just a few days. So. In terms of wildlife, you know, we could go across the street. Well, okay, wildlife, using the term very loosely. Across the street we have the, see, I'm thinking another language, the Mayura, yeah, Kongche, peacock. I couldn't remember the English word, but I was remembering every other language aside from English for peacock. But yeah, there's a special park full of peacocks here. I don't know, do you think the peacocks are actually kept in captivity there? Do you think they can leave? I mean, they're not flighted birds. They can't fly away, right? But,
no, I don't think they can leave.
Okay.
There are gates at both of the entrances.
Right. So it's a free range peacock farm in effect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And the peacocks, I think they're almost all male, all the ones we saw, right? You know, the brightly colored peacocks are male, and the female peacocks are kind of drab brown.
Yeah, we saw mostly.
So, yeah, I don't know what the deal is there. But anyway, not quite a zoo, not quite a factory farm, but there's a peacock lake, as they call it, as an attraction across the way. I mean, I can hear some birds overhead now. Sometimes we hear the keening of insects, cicadas, and what have you. This is by no means intact or old growth forest. Pretty much all of China was deforested, aside from some little patches of forest we have here on the edges next to Myanmar. That reminds me, you know, I had a very memorable conversation via a translator with a guy who was ethnically Chinese, so he's what they call Han Chinese here, part of the Chinese majority. Yeah. And during the Cultural Revolution, he ran away and joined the tribal peoples living in the forest. So he, in effect, assimilated himself into some tribal peoples living in the forest just to escape starvation. Wow. Because the starvation in his area was so widespread and so terrible. Probably also violence, you know, communist on communist warfare, yeah. Which he didn't talk about. You could tell he didn't want to talk about. He didn't want to say any more about that. So we didn't press him. But it was a really interesting story, and he said, you know, he had learned to survive. He learned to survive with nothing but a pocket knife, and he used tellingly a disused bomb fragment, you know, like a leftover bomb blasting cap to cook rice in. Wow. So you know, he'd build a fire and put this, I think the idea was, obviously this was translated from Chinese, but he put this piece of metal from a bomb fragment over the fire to get hot. And then I think he would put the rice inside a coconut. So, you know, the coconuts contain liquid, they have coconut milk, and the rice would cook inside the coconut, then he'd hack it open and eat the coconut rice. So, but yeah, he described this as a straight up, you know, struggle for survival against starvation. Yeah, really interesting guy. Met him and his whole extended family. That was back in Jinghong.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, in many ways that reflects part of the feeling of the place here. I mean, I don't know how local indigenous people feel about it, but a lot of the Han Chinese, they do feel that they're local to wherever they've been living for a couple of generations. You know, they feel they're from here and represent this place. Even if ethnically and linguistically and religiously, they're not in any way from this place. Just one of my students this year is from Jinghong, which is the next county south. And, you know, she talks of herself as, you know, Jinghong native, but she's Han Chinese and her whole family is. And I think she's going to make the effort to learn modern Thai. And then maybe from modern Thai, she'll learn to speak the local language here, the Dahong Dai language, or the Jinghong Dai language, I suppose. But, again, very different sort of cultural attitudes towards assimilation and whatever the alternative to assimilation might be. There's our large jungle walk. That's actually a statement from the donor, the company that donated money to build this stairway, to beautify this park. So, yeah. So there's a golden temple that we just saw at the top of the hill, and there's also the silver temple. And you know, there are kind of government built projects. The silver temple, which remains incomplete and kind of abandoned, it does have posters up saying the sort of local charitable society that was in charge of it. But I don't know, for all I know, that's why the golden temple was finished and the silver temple never was. You know, the difference between being backed by the government proper and being backed by some kind of small charitable agency here. Oh. Anyway, it's been cool lately. I mean, not to talk about the weather, but if you've been watching our channel, you've seen us wearing more and more layers, wearing more clothing on camera, as opposed to just sitting around in t-shirts with the fan on. We used to be filming all our videos with the fan blowing on us continuously because it was so hot.
Yeah.
This is a tropical area, but it's at the cool end of what counts as the tropics. We got some propaganda posters here. We also passed a few grave sites, which I didn't capture. Oh. But like everything in Jinghong, we got some reminders from the government of, I don't know, what we ought to be doing with our time. Anyway, it's hot enough here to grow mangoes. It's hot enough here, but it's cool enough to grow strawberries. And this is the coldest time of year, I suppose. I remember before you came over, babe, I remember struggling to do push-ups with my gloves on. Because, you know, it was so cold, my fingers would get numb trying to work out and try to do push-ups in the apartment. So it does get cool here, but definitely never gets down to the point of frost or snow or anything like that. Nothing that would cause the rubber trees or the coffee trees or the mango trees to shudder. Anyway, here at the bottom of the temple road, the bottom of the staircase leading up to the Buddhist temple, we have a monument to those who died fighting against the Japanese in World War II. Sino-Japanese War concluding with World War II. And then below this, there's another staircase leading us down to the road that leads us back to the downtown core of the city. And that's a wrap.